Yo, yo, what's up? Grown folks in the building, Bryce Streets in the building. I can't see the chat. Yeah, let's get it cracking.
Of course, we can't spend all our time at home. Most of us find relaxation going places. I hate to break the news. You're at the end of your trip.
Dope fiends still get high. My dope dealers barely get by. You better get your life right. You wanna live in the birds with your white wife. Do your own thing. I know you won't change. And I can't play it long, man. I'm laced with that long game. It's just not a lot of choices, man. You ain't planning to go to jail with the poison plan. So you can be another number in the system. Stuck years. Got a brother in the pen fucked up. All the stash shit you know you kept. And everything that the police left. It's too late when you notice it. It's all gone, motherfuckers done stole your shit. You wanna kill him and you still do. But realize real killers get killed too. Ooh.
Word up, word up. What's up? This is Lordship in the building. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why everybody chooses to go live at the same time. But they do. It's the because certain times is certain times. What if you was out hustling on the corner and you look out the curtain, you don't see nobody, and then you make you a quick little grilled cheese. You put the bread and the cheese at the top of the broiler in the oven right quick, and then make your little cheese thingy, and then you go outside. You got your work and everything, and boom, everybody on each corner. You like, God, why everybody out here at the same time? You know, you see nobody at the hoop court across the street. You turn around, tie your shoestrings up, sit, go outside. Boom, somebody playing half court. You was trying to do full court. You know what I'm saying? You said your Dropbox is open. DVC. Oh, you like that remix? That's a cold remix. The original song is cold. That album, Married to the Game, is cold. I don't know if anybody slept on it or what, but Too Short from out here, and when I heard that song, I said I had to remix it. Yeah, I'll drop that link on you. I will drop that link on you. I'll send it to your inbox soon. You know what I'm saying? That one got bass too. It go through. It's half hip hop, half jungle, half I don't even know, club. you know, got a little bit of that Jersey uh bounce to it. you know. Yeah, I just seen Too Short. I keep bragging about that concert. It was, to me, that was a once a lifetime concert. Too Short, Wu Tang, and Nas. And I do like a diversified level of rap music because I like Shorty Low and I can't think of his name, but the dude is just like Shorty Low. But but I'm just saying I like a variety of different rap styles, and to have those three together, that was just a crazy mix of hip hop right there. You know what I'm saying? But I did it as a challenge when I did the Too Short remix. I didn't think I could do it over that kind of music, and then with the Nina Simone, that was another challenge. I like to challenge myself. Keep from being bored. Let's see. We need a new title because we not we're not Nature Boy sector no more. We need a sector channel with a lineup of shows and all. Yeah, we need to be like a network where you go you go on at this time, you go on at that time, and you know what I'm saying? We could have this thing popping if we have a schedule. I got between 3 and 5. You got between 6 and 8. You know what I'm saying? Well, you know what? You know how businesses in the same district or the same neighborhood usually have a business association. I was actually thinking of a logo that people could put on the screen along with their own logo that shows that we're all affiliated. You know what I'm saying? Like BSN, like a logo that's BSN, Black Streaming Network. And when you see that BSN logo, you know you're gonna get good content. You ain't gonna get no drama, and they gonna be boring. And they part of the BSN clique. So I'll be working on that logo, the BSN, and see if anybody wanna put something together like that. Yeah, I yeah, part of me do want to believe that people do it on purpose. Um, I I was gonna bow out, but somebody I used to say at the beginning of the show, I'm not going live because I see so and so live, and damn, there's people that I actually want to watch, so I don't want to go live now. And somebody told me to stop saying that and just go live when you want to go live. You know, but I know where everybody at because I was there before I went live. You know what I'm saying? Well, I know where some people are at. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you watching people for what we call in the music business creative listening. We do it for creative listening. You know what I'm saying? I used to listen to the news from a party I wasn't affiliated with just so I could have strong argument points because I fully understood their arguments instead of listening to someone preach to the choir or listening to my own party where we just going to keep bouncing the same stuff to each other. You can't argue with somebody from a different party if you're not fully engulfed in what they believe in to understand what they believe in. You see what I'm saying? I should start stealing and posting lies. Everyone gets along when they have a common enemy. Yeah, that would be sick. You hit it on the head, observing. Yeah. Well, I wanted to talk about a couple of things. You know, one of the things I'm gonna get into is the Teddy Riley versus Babyface battle. Okay. I'm already mad because, you know, they need to get out of our backyard anyway. Like, the internet was the only place independent artists had a chance to do things and be heard and be seen. It was no major artists hung out in our playground until this virus thing. You know, these major artists got commercial radio. They got the commercial radios doing internet radio. They got VH1 and all kind of little commercial video channels. Not too many. I mean, they only got 3 major ones in America, unfortunately. But there should be a major video channel in each state, several, and there should be a bunch of micro stations too. You know, for the small guy. But yeah, they're gonna start stepping on our toes in the independent world. You know, but guess what? See, when they were in the major world, all the technical stuff was left to the label and the people that's behind it. You know, each artist got a team of 30 people behind them. And yeah, they have a technical difficulties like a mofo. And yeah, you in our playground. Now, you done fucked up, right? You in our, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like imagine the Indians was being invaded, right? But all of a sudden, they realized they left the rifles on the boat. And now they got to use slingshots and bow and arrows too. And now it's an equal playing field. You know, because we know how to use the same software as the majors. We got access to the same software the majors do, studio setup. When I watched, I didn't watch the Babyface and I didn't watch Babyface and Teddy Riley live, and I still haven't watched the whole thing. I watched a little bit, took some snippets that I wanted to explain my point, and I was good. But I'm gonna go back and watch it uncut later on. But yeah, you know, you can't just roll out of bed and go live without doing your homework and research. And you shouldn't put all your trust into someone else unless you know that person do it too, like all the time, backwards and forwards. You know what I'm saying? And but Babyface did his homework. Babyface had his stuff together. You know, he got, I don't know, he got younger people, or maybe he just knew because he seems like a man that stays up on technology. Will Smith got 7 million followers. Yeah, of course, because he's Will Smith. You know what? I told people that I've been overseas to do music and stuff and done shows and work with labels overseas. And this dude said, Snoop Dogg been overseas. And I looked at him like, of course Snoop Dogg been overseas. He's a major recording artist with backing, with a parent label. And he was doing Live 8 concerts and got arrested. you know. But when I went overseas, I wasn't under the category of a hip hop artist because even though they treat rappers better there than here, rappers never set a standard of treatment for themselves. And when they go over there and they don't really care about or try to understand the culture or try to learn the language, so the treatment of rappers over there is at a certain threshold, but it's still better than here. So we was under the category of electronic group that bridged the gap between hip hop and electronics, and within 3 hours you would go from rap to electronics and any music in between that's underground when we was on stage. So we got treated the same as rock artists or other electronic artists and stuff like that, where you just get a little bit more courtesy. You see what I'm saying? Because when the rap group go over there, it's me, F you, where's McDonald's? The clubs will prepare food for you. Like in Germany, they will make food for you after sound check, and you can eat in the club. If they don't make food, they'll take you out to a nice restaurant, and you can leave your equipment in the club. You ain't got to worry about it being stolen or anything. But then some of these rap groups, they go over there, it's like, oh, y'all made us food? Oh, okay. Yeah, well, we don't really eat that shit. Even Arrested Development, they got this image of being all conscious and earthy. Two French cooks in Switzerland spent 2 hours preparing a special vegan meal for Arrested Development, and they said, we don't want it. I'm sorry, we don't eat that. Do y'all have a McDonald's? And I was brokenhearted. My heart was broken. You know what I'm saying? I was like, really? Damn, it's just an act. They just be fronting, But we played at that same place. It was called Freisen in a city called Freiburg. We only been to Zurich and Freiburg in Switzerland. And Freisen is like, here is like the Fillmore, or I guess you would say it's almost like, it's like a place, with a bunch of people can gather with a big stage. And it was the only club promoted by a female. The country supports the arts 100%, so they can afford to pay the artists. They gave us a big sack of herb, and they cooked us a 4-course meal. We ate with the staff, and then they put us up in a villa. What's up, Bright Street? They put us up in a villa, and each room had its own theme, and we had a view of the valley and the Alps. And we were locked in the villa till the morning. But at the end of the morning, we came out the backyard. We grabbed, breakfast stuff off the breakfast table and went out to the backyard and sat at the table. And there was a labyrinth guarding on the hillside, and there was a view of the countryside. And I'm, smoking a joint, eating breakfast, and we did a show the night before in that town, and we was getting ready to drive back to Germany. And I said, you know what? When I get back to America, I ain't never doing a show again. Unless I know that we're gonna be properly accommodated. Because they wasn't rolling out the red carpet. They were just giving us standard treatment. And everything that I read in Miles Davis' autobiography and heard from other famous jazz artists and stuff was true. And even though we use machines and we rap, or sometimes we just have instrumentals and stuff, I still consider us somewhere in that jazz family, or at least have that jazz artist mentality. I look at the jazz artist as a way to conduct and carry yourself. But I grew up with hip hop, but I was learning music years before hip hop was even a thing. But once I got into hip hop, it was all good. And then when I started combining what I knew from before hip hop, people started saying, well, that ain't hip hop. And then I said, well, I guess it's time to move on. But I still love it. And, it seemed like on the East Coast, they were very, really open-minded when it came to being different with the rap music. But on the West Coast, it had to be like Rodney O and Joe Cooley and all that. It had to be, drum machine and keyboard for a lot of stuff, you know what I'm saying? But it's all good. You feel me, right, grown folks? You know what I'm trying to say. And I always got the impression that certain towns, you just can't get past the live bands. Certain towns are just a hotbed for live bands, and Philly was one of them. If you knew a band was coming from Philly, you know it was going to be good. And so two bands I remember is, of course, The Roots, but I also remember a poet named Ursula Rucker, who was always on the beginning of the Roots album. And then there was a husband and wife out of Philly that was affiliated with Roots, and they used to do a lot of great covers. And they had about a 9 to 10 piece band too. But I can't think of their it's all good, because it's all good, grown folks, because the music from my mixes are from TokyoDon.net, and they will not, you won't be able to monetize it, but you don't have to worry about them flagging your channel. They're not going to shut your channel down because you're playing my mixes. All this was strategic. The music that I chose to play is strategic, and you got the green light. You can play. Matter of fact, eventually you can subscribe to a free membership with Tokyo Don. Just tell them that you're a content, that you have a show, and they'll still flag it, but you won't it won't be a strike, and they won't shut down your show. See what I'm saying? Kendrick, man, how did you know? Well, of course you know. Man, Kendrick, I remember I went to a vodka promo, and Dougie Fresh was the host, and Kendrick was the featured band. And yeah, Kendrick, man. And then, DC with Michelle Adegoancello and the other brother who invented go-go that passed away. A hotbed for live bands. And but Miles Davis, he said he only liked to perform in Chicago, New York, and St. Louis, of course, and California. And he said, but even those places get on my nerves. He made enough money playing overseas where he didn't have to really play in America anymore unless he wanted to. You know what I'm saying? And that's, if you know how to play the saxophone and you move to London, you'll never go hungry. You know what I'm saying? But if you make, as a black man, and if you make great music on your laptop and you know how to perform it live, you can go to Germany or you can go to Japan and you'll never be hungry. You can fit your laptop and your controller and your little projector and your memory cards and all that in your backpack, and roll up with about 3 pairs of jeans, a few t-shirts and stuff. You can spend 3 months in Japan. You wouldn't be hungry. You'll be working every week. But they don't want us to know that. But you gotta be different though, Now, I just get mad when people compare. As an independent artist, you have a conversation with someone and then they compare you to a major. And I'd be like, dude, they got a staff, they got a team, they got A&R, they got people that tell them how to dress. You got people that mix and master their music. Why are you making the comparison? And I was talking to a DJ telling them that, because my songs are, the albums are imports, they start out very expensive as import prices. And he said, man, ain't nobody gonna pay that much for a CD. Well, I said, well, number one, in their country, that's normal price. And when you do the music exchange rate, then it becomes more here because their money is more valuable. But to them, it's just normal price. They're used to it. So they're not going to look at 25, they're not going to look at 17 pounds or 17 Swiss francs or 17 euros and go, damn, that's high. But when you do the conversion, oh, that's $25 in American money. And I remember I released an album out of Austria that went for $32 a pop when it first came out, and there's only so many copies. So, it was only so many printed because it was everything was a license deal. I've only done licensing contracts, and it's different. I mean, the one thing that a major artist can brag about is we got upfront money, even if we didn't get any royalties, or I lost all my or I got cheated on the publishing. We did get some money, and an independent artist usually can't say that. Um, and most independent artists kind of want to be major, but if things go south, you'll never own your name. It'll be always tied up in red tape, and then you have to use a symbol or something for your name if you want to continue to do music. Yeah. So yeah. The thing is, Teddy Riley was feeling himself, and he didn't do any creative listening or creative watching. Now, Babyface must have studied the RZA and Premier battle. You know, he must have really studied all the battles, really, but the RZA and Premier, he must have looked at it closely, because Babyface probably was like, I'm not gonna get caught slipping or look like a fool to these young folks or whatever. You know, I like Teddy Riley. I didn't realize how young he started. I didn't know that he was behind that Dougie Fresh beat. He must have been really young when he did that. Yeah. Now, Star in the Morning made fun of the fact that Teddy Riley had a video screen behind him, right? But the RZA had a video screen behind him too. The RZA had a LCD TV behind him too. I guess Star forgot that. You know, what's up, Mel in the building? And anybody else in the background? Um, yeah, the RZA had a TV back there too. And you know what? I'm gonna put it like this: me being an independent artist, if I would have came Hollywood, it would have been together. It would have been smooth. I mean, you can consider how I do a show right now very Hollywood. But look, before I went live, I spent an hour making sure things were right, and things can still go wrong. And you can tell when I go off my path, because things do go wrong in my show when I go off my path. After spending an hour pre-prepping, if I do anything that I wasn't planning on doing, things do go a little left. But if I stick to the script and everything, it's usually all good. Yeah, Teddy Riley, he was trying to do vocals with, like, overdubbing his vocals. And you know, luckily, see, y'all, you may know or know this, but like me as an independent artist, I am banging my head against the wall. I'm like, these MFs, how dare they step into our world? You know, now those that can adapt will adapt. You know what I'm saying? Questlove and all of them, uh, they they have adapted. But the thing is, you can't hardline into Instagram. You can't hardwire into it. You can try with your laptop, but you know, if you have a multi, what you call it, a 2-in-1 PC, like your PC is a tablet and a regular PC, you could try to you know, the hot wire, you know, like hard. I'm trying to say, instead of just having an open air mic, you could try to plug in like you do with OBS Studio, whatever. But but you can't plug in like you would do on OBS Studio, which you could do Twitch, you could do Facebook, you could do YouTube, and you could be just as solid as a major network. But having your phone or your tablet just out in the open, and you got to have the right distance from the speaker. You got to have a good equalization on the speaker to make it sound good. I would prefer not to do that live on Instagram, but it's become a thing. You know what I'm saying? But I want people to be able to turn the music up and stuff without it being distorted. I mean, look, even right now, I'm using vocal effects. I can sound like anything I want to. If I want to sound like I'm in a theater, it's just a click of a button. You know what I'm saying? It's not even no big deal. So it just shows how serious you are. And right now, I got an effect on my voice on the International Space Station. Yeah, I sound like I'm inside of a spacesuit right now. So let me refresh because there's something I'm not seeing. Oh, okay. What's up? What's up? People walking in the building. Yeah. So I got a few video clips from the battle though. And you know what was cool about the battle? I saw that Babyface had the same monitors that I have. Sarquette in the building. For his musical ideas for mixing and mastering in his home studio, he got the same monitors. Now, monitors look like speakers. People confuse them all the time. Monitors and speakers are two different things. But those two red things that was on the left and right side of his monitors, the computer monitor screen, those are recording monitors. Yeah, Babyface was a professional all the way. He was courteous, respectful. He tried to give compliments when he could. Babyface been in the game longer. He remembered when Teddy Riley first started. As a matter of fact, Babyface said that he gave him a huge compliment. He said when he did Don't Be Cruel with Bobby Brown, and Bobby Brown went over to Teddy Riley's studio to record It's My Prerogative or something like that, he said that Bobby Brown told him that he didn't want to come back, that he wasn't coming back. And that was a huge compliment. And that was big of him to say that as a producer. That really showed humbleness and humility. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's all good. It was all good. So now Teddy Riley was starting to realize that things wasn't going right, and the whole time he was doing this thing, it wasn't what he thought he was presenting was not coming across in this medium. They're like a fish out of water. They're not used to this type of insecurity. Usually there's a staff, there's people who tune guitars, these people that do sound check for you. See, independent artists have to do their own sound check, and they're lucky if they get to do that. So he was really out of his element, and then unfortunately, but I don't know how to put this not in a nice way, but you got two types of brothers, or more. You got two types of brothers. You got, when it comes to music, you got brothers that's really into that shit, really nerd like they know some really technical stuff. They really tune deep off into it. And then you got brothers that just mess with it a little bit, and they mess with it enough to get the ladies or whatever, to get dudes. You know more than the next man, so he kind of respect you, but deep inside you really don't know shit. You just know more than the people around you, and that's what happened with Teddy. He got all these yes men around him, and they wasn't giving him good advice, but they knew more than him. He said, no, I thought he was doing too much. Babyface kept it simple. That's true. He was doing too much. I agree with you. But if he knew his thing, he could pull it off. Like right now, I'm not keeping it simple. I have a whole vocal effects rack. It's virtual, but I got a whole vocal effects rack. And then I'm playing music. I got the chat room. The standard chat room image on the OBS Studio has a white background in this rectangle, but my chat room is transparent and it's more cylinder like. You know what I'm saying? And I got the overlays and the pictures and the animation. That's for live streaming as a basic dude. That's a little over the top too. But I did a lot of pre-preparation and a lot of homework to get to this point. But you know what you're doing. You don't need a crew. That's true. And Babyface didn't need a crew either. And Babyface was like, he was trying to, even though Teddy was giving Babyface compliments and courtesies back, when it came down to being embarrassed, he tried to push it off on Babyface because he older, right? And really, you can't really tell the difference in the ages of both of them. Both of them look like OGs up there. But Babyface is kind of Hollywood. See, I don't know if you know, but Hollywood producers, Babyface is the poster boy. My former manager, he was a advisory manager. Like, he was like a dude who was in the game that had Grammys that you could ask for advice, but if you capitalized off of his advice, you owed him 25% or something like that. And I had a 2-year advisory contract with a guy named Marcel East. So if you know the group Foreplay, then you would know that Nathan East and Marcel East is two of the main members in Foreplay. And Nathan East is one of the top 5 bass players in the United States, if not the world. And he is a #1 session bass guitarist. And if anything from Babyface, Anita Baker, Shaka Khan, I Feel For You, all of that stuff, Nathan East was playing the bass on that. Yeah, Sammy moving. If you look too close, he's moving. Yeah, don't be on some shrooms looking at this stuff. You will be tripping. Yeah, but you got to be on your square when you do this, because you're only as good as your last show, the last time people see you. Now, Teddy Riley has done product endorsements. I've seen him endorse Steinberg New Window. I just spent all night last night downloading Cubase 10.5 Elements. Cubase Elements 10.5, 15 gigs worth of stuff. And I'm ready to mess with it. You know what I'm saying? It looks really good. Got it fresh from the black market, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah, Sammy spooky if you look too close. So yeah, but what was killing the game was not only there was feedback. See, he shouldn't have had his speakers on. He wanted to hear himself and play the music at the same time. Babyface was smart. He had it on just headphones. He hit the mute button, and he knew about space between the speakers and the mic. You know, a Babyface is technically savvy. What's up? What's up in the building? Sasha Love. Yeah, see, you got yes mans there. You're not even showing social distance. Like right now, it would be bad PR for people to be standing that close in a live presentation. So he didn't show social distancing. Then you got these yes men around you, and then you're playing the sound so you can hear it. Like, that takes some getting used to. Like, right now, I can hear myself a tiny bit because I got the volume way, way, way down. But once I get to a certain level of confidence, I'm not going to listen to myself play back. I'm just going to continue to speak, and every now and then I might check. But you can't listen in certain circumstances. You cannot listen to yourself while you broadcast it live. You'll start stuttering and everything. You know, so now your sound is off, and you hella Hollywood for something really low key, and you got your boy over there dancing. You know what I'm saying? He's supposed to be the hype man. And oh my God, that really kind of took it over the top. Like, you got somebody uncle over there dancing, man. And I bet you he used to kill the game back in the Rex and Effects days. You know, even Pharrell was in Rex and Effects. He was doing this session drums and stuff for Rex and Effects. And he was in the Zoom Zoom video, Pharrell, for real. Yeah, they go way back. But Teddy realized that, wait a minute. He also got hit with some realities too. He was like, I'm finna get blown out the park. Cause Babyface was playing some adult music. And Teddy was playing some teeny bopper music. And I'm trying to think it should have been Teddy and Brian McKnight. I mean, not Teddy, Brian McKnight and Babyface. Not Teddy Riley and Babyface. I'm gonna tell you who Teddy Riley should have had a battle with. He should have had a battle with Kyle West. Kyle West, Teddy Riley. Or even Rodney Jerkins. Rodney Jerkins. You see what I'm saying? But Babyface? That's kind of like ready for the world against Marvin Gaye. And I like Ready for the World. I had some good summers with their music in the background as a teenager. So let's head over to the theater. And we're going to see what we have in the theater. Okay, here goes some snippets from the battle. And make sure you keep an eye on Bruh Bruh on the far right with the Kango on. And watch Babyface professionalism. He's like a golfer when it comes to music, man. He's concentration, man.
Now how did mic right here, the mic right, and then go ahead and go ahead. Can say something. Can say something.
Yeah. Can you hear me? I'm good. Yeah.
All right, so we good. Good.
Wow. Wow, man. It looked like dude was having a seizure over there. Looked like he was stroking, like having a stroke or something. Look, here go another clip here. You know, Babyface sound system was together. It was loud.
I love that. The Kissing Game. Dang. I didn't know you did that. No, well, you did a lot of stuff, man. So.
And you did too. Come on, you doubled me.
Yeah, but
That's what's gonna be my 20. It's gonna be my 20. I know you got
that's.
a
Well, I think that's just when the whole Kissing Game. What I love about the Kissing Game is how young it was. And you have these, just energy, and that's. I hate to just reminding me again of something that I did a song I wrote actually way before he even got it. We wrote it way before he even got it, but it survived and it lasted. Sometimes you can write a song that be waiting for the right person.
Now, some of it is me, and some of it is the actual footage. I don't know what's going on with it, but he definitely looked like he's on that high power. He definitely looked like he's on that high power for sure. I don't know if it's party up to the second power, third power, or ninth power, but he seemed like it's the whole crew seemed like they on that high power though.
Okay.
We got a fade.
Yeah.
There's a loop on your side.
I don't know. I'm here by myself. I'm here by myself. So, social distancing and all that stuff. My microphone. I can turn the microphone. I don't have any speakers. It's all through a headphone. Okay. So I can turn the microphone down when the music is playing. So should I turn my microphone down when your music is playing?
Stop. Whatever you just did.
I did nothing.
It's back. It's still there. You probably need to turn it down. Turn the microphone down.
I can turn my microphone down.
When we playing.
All right.
Let's do a test. If I play something, where's on the talk? Turn your mic down.
My mic.
When you talk. Play something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's playing. It came on live at that point. So I don't know that interface you have. It may be looping back because I can hear myself talking to myself coming from your line.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay, so we're gonna for a second.
We'll start
Work it
it out. Okay. Dang.
Should have happened.
Peace and hair grease. Welcome to the show. I was just showing 3 clips from the you know, from the Babyface thingy. And those monitors that he have, Babyface have, those red things that look like speakers, I have the same exact pair, and they are limited. I don't like doing promos, but I'm practicing for one day. I may be sponsored, so let me practice now. But those 2 red looking speakers in the back are called KRK 6s, and they're limited editions. KRKs come in black and yellow. They do not come in red and white, but they did have a limited edition of the red and white monitor. And so, yeah, those were KRKs, and those are tight. Pretty tight. Because I feel better, because I've always felt like I never had anything that was really, in my studio. I felt like I ain't really had that. But now that I see Babyface, yes. And that's what I found. Like, once the smoke and mirrors is gone, I've been to a few studios. And like I was saying before, Marcel East was my mentor manager. And when I met his brother, Nathan East, I went and got me a bass after that, because I wanted to learn. He was sponsored by Yamaha Bass, so I went and got me a bass off a punk rocker who thought the world was going to end in 2000, and bought it off of him in Mill Valley. No, he gave it to me. Did I buy it? I don't even remember. He might have sold it to me. But I still got that same bass, and sometimes I play it on some of my tracks. And yeah. But yeah, I'm just saying that he had 2-inch tape machine in his house. He had 15-inch woofers in the wall. He had a sound booth. He had a drum set in the sound booth. The drummer from the Average White Band lived there also. And he had, now you Hollywood, when you have a green room in your studio. A green room is where people kick it that's soundproof, so they won't disturb the recording session. And you can focus on whatever. You can make your calls, you can go over your lyrics, you can talk to your agent, your lawyer, whatever. And if 2 things to know if you got a real home studio that's popping. You have a green room, and then see, if you have a green room, people like Janet and other people don't have a problem coming to your home studio. You know what I'm saying? And then you have a little place that's for making tea. That's very Hollywood. Like, if you open up a little closet, a little tall closet, and it's nothing but tea packages and tea and cups. That's how you do it. So when I'm looking at Babyface, since he lived in California and stuff, I know that he's one of your typical black Hollywood music producers, but that's not a negative. When you run into Grammy winning or even up and coming producers, they usually tend to be smooth like that. But I can't say that for the whole United States or going over other producers' houses in other states. But I know it's a California thing, the way Babyface is carrying himself. God bless. I need you to hit me up, sis. Just lost a close cousin, and I'm hurting. My condolences. Sorry to hear that. Redbone. Take care. And yeah, I see some of Sarquette's videos on her channel. She make videos, very nice, very conscious, and positive. And yeah, so now that we got that out the way, because I think the title of the show, I don't want to get like some people we know, and we change our names so much, but it's called Words Have Meanings, and Smart Conversations Are Rare. And where I got that phrase from is likewise, Redbone. And where I got that statement from is Truman Capote. A while back, I seen a movie based on his life, and he had Asperger's. I hope I pronounced that right. but he, you know, he can still drive a car. He only lost his license in New York. Don't ask me how I know this stuff, but yeah, his license was suspended in New York for a minute in his life, but Flavor Flav had his license revoked permanently in New York. But at least Truman Capote had an excuse. But he was a great book writer, and his greatest book, I guess, was based on the life of a serial killer. But he said one of his famous quotes is, "A intelligent conversation is rare." An intelligent conversation is rare, and so that's where I got the concept and the idea for my title. So I got some more film clips, which is going to be a surprise to you all. So I got to change the tape on the projector. And as soon as I change the tape on the projector, I can show you these other clips that I got set up for you. I got to take the reel down with the Teddy Riley clips, and I got to replace it with the reel with the LJ clips. So I have a treat for you, because when you hear what LJ got to say this time, you will truly be done. Truly. Okay? So give me a second to change the reel. And we're black. His Lordship in the building. Grown folks said that's my jam. That's my jam too. You know why I'm laughing, because you probably know the original vocals that was on that track. And I said, I'm not gonna waste that song just on that one person. I'm not gonna waste that song just on that one individual. But that individual did inspire this song. And the original, the title, well, for the Troll video, the song was called Hit This, but the original title of the song, the final title for the song is called Ghost Town, because I don't live far from downtown, and I could get downtown. I could walk 15 minutes and then I'm downtown, or ride the electric scooter and I'm downtown in 5 minutes. And it's a ghost town. You know what I'm saying? It's a ghost town because of the quarantine. And that's what inspired the song. So expect a music video for that song soon. And then that'll be either posted, and I'm thinking about getting a SoundCloud for under the Lordship moniker, and then there will be downloads from there where people can download as much as they want if they like some of the songs that's on the show and stuff like that. So I'll be signing up with SoundCloud tonight, as a matter of fact, and see if Lordship is available. None of you trolls don't try to beat me to the punch, because I'll just spell it a different way. But from troll to troll, don't do your boy like that. Troll to troll honor. You know what I'm saying? There is no honor amongst trolls, but yeah. Yeah, that's some good late night music right there. And I did play bass guitar on that song. And I'm not no Brother Johnson. I'm not no Boosie. And I'm definitely not a Michelle Indego or cello. And I'm not a I could go down the list of bass players. But I am a fan of Charles Mingus. So when I play the bass, even if I'm playing electric bass, I think to myself, what would Charles Mingus do? Oh yeah, get back out here and live before it's too late, because the cost of living is crazy, and I don't know, man. The best job right now is working at the hospital, so tomorrow I'm gonna be thinking real hard about. I don't even know what's today. Is today's what? Let me look at my phone. Okay. Tomorrow, I'm gonna be thinking really hard about the next move might be the hospital. You know what I'm saying? And that comes with a little bit of risk. Well, the thing is, right on Redbone, the thing is, with my real music group, two people have to agree on everything. And the other dude that I do music with live in near New York. He lives in New York, and we have to agree on everything. And he's ready to really go commercial and work with rappers and singers and everybody, electronic artists, whatever. He's ready to do that if you ain't ready to do that, don't even talk to him, you know. And but we have to make the material. But I'm trying to tell him, you know, I want to do that, but you know, we gotta keep everything open. And I'm loving this YouTube thing, and we can be, we can have several different personalities. So this lordship thing is a new personality I created. I won't be able to use Sammy's face for too long, for too much, because I don't want that to come back on me. So yeah. So this, you know, when I do these other things, it's things that we wouldn't put on our album anyway, even though it would be cool. So I'm just going with the flow. Yeah. Now the other thing, it's on its way. You know, I had a video with 1 million or 4 million views and stuff. I was on MTV in Italy, but that's a different thing. And there's certain things we don't do with that. And it was never about social networks because we was online before social networks. And so when people try to look up a YouTube page by us or something like that, they go, hey, you don't have that many subs. You don't have that many. I'm like, dude, we don't put nothing into that. That's giving shit away for free and giving ideas away. Every time you play something on the air, and it's not published or released, and it's not protected, even then you're giving a idea away. When I use that Shaka Khan sample from Biggie Smalls, there's another producer going, you know what? I never thought of using that loop. I never thought of using that. I'm going to fuck with that. You see what I'm saying? I ain't heard nobody else use that sample from Shaka Khan, but I bet you they'll be using it now. That's what A&R people are for. Really, they do talent scouting, but they also hang out at events. They hang out at rare events, and they look to see what people are doing so they can go back to the label and make sure that their own artist that they invested all this money in is fully current. If everybody cut their hair, the A&R go back to the label and say, hey, dog, you got to cut your hair. If people got dreads or some shit, or dyeing their hair pink or something, hey, bro, I hate to tell you this, but you wearing your pants up too high, and it's time to dye the tips of your dreads pink, or you ain't gonna be popping. See, that's the sad part of being major or commercial. But what's up, Maribel in the building? And God showed me who you truly are, King, and you in my tribe. Well, likewise, right on. Right on. That is the ultimate compliment. So let's get into the sideshow. Now, I don't have these videos labeled, so hopefully this is the one that I'm looking for.
When I go into these interviews, I do not go in as a black person. I go in there as a woman. I go in there as somebody that is looking for employment. My hair is done. I am very nicely dressed. If you really professionally know I was black, and that's the point. When you don't see me, I could have these on, and you wouldn't even know I was black. If you really talk to me on the phone, I do not sound like I'm black. I'm very, very highly educated. I work too hard to go to sit up and be dumbed down by any man or anybody else. I have done that for way too many years. And I have learned black folks don't know what they want. They really don't.
Well, you know what? I think I'm gonna have to play the audio out of the out of my phone. I see that there's going to be an issue with these video clips because I don't want the message to be tainted or missed. So let me I don't want the message to be tainted or missed. So let me play this out of my phone one more time. This is very important because, you know, speaking properly, I mean, listen to what this person attributes to being black versus being white. And instead of saying professional versus unprofessional, she's saying if you're civil, courteous, polite, and professional, nobody won't even know that you're a black person. You see what I'm saying? So let me make sure I have the right video. Here we go.
As a woman, I go in there as somebody that is looking for employment. My hair is done. I am very nicely dressed. I am very professional. And if you really heard me speak professionally, you would not even know I was black. And that's the point. When you don't see me, I could have these on and you wouldn't even know I was black. If you really talk to me on the phone. I do not sound like I'm black. I'm very highly educated. I work too hard to go to school to sit up here and be dumbed down by any man or anybody else. I have done that for way too many years. And I have learned black folks don't know what they want. They don't know.
Wow. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? So everything negative is attributed to blackness. So if she interviewed with somebody on the phone with headphones and speak appropriately, you know, for the situation, that you wouldn't even know that she was black. And in her mind, that didn't sound disrespectful, and it didn't seem like that was throwing shade at being black. And there's really no way to there's no way to really clean that up, you know. So I think the other video clips are going to skip and stuff like that. So I'm just going to play the audio from the video clips, okay? I got a couple of more clips. Okay, yeah, here goes some really, listen to this. This, every time I think I've heard the dumbest thing on YouTube, somebody comes along and say something dumber. So check this out.
You're going to fuck around. Our seed is coming. They're going to tell people you can't put your PayPal on there at all. And then until you get 1,000 views, not get super chat.
You can't get super chat unless you have 1,000 views and probably 20,000 hours of viewing time. I don't even know how much it is. You got to have a large number of viewing times. See, she got a super chat by accident. She kept using Nature Boy name, and she would do 10, 16-hour lives. So when she got 1,000 subs, she didn't know that because of the 1,000 subs and all those hours of views, because you can have 1,000 subs and still can't have a super chat. So even though this person been on YouTube for over 8 years, she still don't know that you need 1,000 subs and a certain amount of hours to get a super chat. She think that anybody can get a super chat as long as they got a brand, and people only been able to have super chats in the past couple of years. but you can't tell her nothing. So listen to this again, because she think that a person that don't make money, that nobody know about, that only gets 60 views an hour, she think that 700 or 800 views, or she think that 600 views in 10 hours is something. That's only 60 views an hour, and 55 of those views are trolls. If you got 30 people in the chat and 71 or 100, you got whatever, 60 people in the chat but 171 thumbs down, we're just going to ignore that, right? So anyway, listen to this again.
Because YouTube eventually is going to say, you can't put your PayPal no more. Everything you do has to be through Snapchat. You can't make no, put it this way, they're going to fuck, these people going to fuck around here. Our seed is coming. They're going to tell people you can't put your PayPal on there at all. And then until you get 1,000 views, you cannot get Super Chat, which you're making no money. It's going to be all about views. So you're not even going to be able to put your PayPal information unless you have a legit business. Unless it's a brand. Which is the reason why when it comes down to podcasting, if it is syndicated, you making money. That's why so many people are doing podcasting now, because that is really where the money is. Money is in podcasting.
Her podcast is not real.
You make more money doing podcasting than you do YouTube.
Podcasts don't advertise.
Podcasting, you have a better chance of getting.
If you got to do a commercial in your podcast, it's not a real
when I got them
podcast.
20,000 people, I was happy about that. Till Vic and them decide they want to show me. What?
If you got 20,000 people supporting your podcast, why the hell you on YouTube getting trolled to death and flagged for violating other people's copyrights, even though you saying that people are violating your copyrights, but they're not being flagged? But if you had 20,000 followers on your podcast, there's nobody that can shut that down or reverse that. If you lost those people, that's your fault. And if you ain't spending time trying to nurture those people, the reason why I know she don't got 20,000 people and all that, because you have to pay for bandwidth. You know what I'm saying? When you have that much traffic, you have to pay for bandwidth.
Why would you show my podcast more? And this is my point. People want to ruin you. They don't want you to have nothing. And that's the reason why there are a lot of black folks that do not do business with black folks. Because when you try to, y'all want something for nothing. It don't work that way.
Yeah, this person is completely ignorant. My podcast account is 10 years old. I'm registered with two podcast registrars. Basically, that means if I podcast, it goes into syndication on dummy websites around the world, and people can be interested in that, because they'll see the advertising in their language for my podcast, but they'll be advertising their own stuff at the same time. And it's way past lying. It's the fact that she just don't know what she's talking about. A real podcast is only less than 28 minutes, and a real podcast don't have. If you hear somebody advertising in the podcast, you're not listening to a podcast. If somebody's, the trick is to casually advertise in the podcast, but not make it seem like you're being advertised to. It should not sound like a commercial at all. Just, if you happen to mention something in your podcast, it should come up in normal conversation nonchalantly, where the person that's listening doesn't even think it's an advertising. You see what I'm saying? And if your podcast have 250,000 people watching it all the time, well, not watching, but listening to it, and they subscribe to it, then you could get somebody to sponsor it, and they pay you a monthly fee or whatever. But you're not stopping the show to say, "Hey, this show is brought to you by Doritos." You hear that in in a podcast. That's not a podcast. As a matter of fact, a podcast cannot be streamed. It's a feed. It cannot be streamed. If you hear a podcast on something that's a stream, then it's a fake podcast. There's lots of fake podcasts. Some of the biggest fake podcasts are the ones that's sponsored by major corporations because they don't give a damn about rules and regulations and traditions. The whole reason why podcast was invented is because people are sick of radio. But if your podcast is no different than a radio broadcast, meaning radio requires you to invest 1 to 4 hours of listening, whether it's streamed on the internet or whether it's terrestrial. See, she don't even know the difference between internet radio and terrestrial radio. So if your podcast goes past 38 minutes and it leans towards 45 to an hour or even 2 hours long, your podcast no longer is a podcast. It's actually a radio show. And if your podcast is on Ustream or YouTube or anything that have the word stream in it, or you have to go to it and press play and wait for it to buffer to play, that's not a podcast. That's a stream. A podcast is delivered to you just like email. You subscribe to the feed, the RSS feed, and the podcast is already in your mailbox when you check your feed list, whether it comes from iTunes or whatever, and you can listen to it when it's scheduled to be aired, or you can listen to it at your own time. And it's designed for you to listen to it when you're commuting, or you waiting on your prescription to be filled, or you waiting in line for your order during the quarantine, or you're shopping in the grocery store. Or podcasts are supposed to be brief. That's why it's called PODCAST. And if you want examples of real podcasts, if you really have a curiosity about podcasts, don't go to Joe Budden and all this stuff. Those are fake podcasts. Even though the shows are entertaining and they're great, and props to my brother Joe Budden and all these guys, but those are not real podcasts. You want to see what a real professional podcast is. You won't be disappointed. You go to BBC website, or you go to NPR or NPI or KQED websites, and that's where your standard is. And then you can base when you listen to other people who call their show podcasts, now you know what it should be like. And then you can go, oh, okay, these guys are just using the name podcast because it's a buzzword. Just like, I'll give you another example. These restaurants outside of Philadelphia, these places outside of Philadelphia love to call their place a Philly cheesesteak restaurant. And you have cheesesteaks restaurants, and then you have steak and cheese restaurants. And somebody would say, well, what's the difference? They both steak and cheese. Well, there's a difference between Philly cheesesteak and steak and cheese. And outside of Philly, they use the wrong kind of cheese. In Philly, the cheese is more like a paste. It's more like a paste. Outside of Philly, they use regular cheese. And buffalo wings outside of Buffalo are usually, they use some kind of batter with some blue cheese or whatever, and they deep fry it. But really, buffalo wings are prepared a different way. It should look like fried chicken. It's chicken, and but it shouldn't have that Kentucky Fried Chicken crust or that Church's chicken crust on it if it's real buffalo wings. But we don't live in Buffalo, so we don't know that. But I think real buffalo wings are not deep fried. But outside of Buffalo, they deep fry it. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Most of us are not familiar with podcasts, even though podcasts has been around for over a decade, and it's been stealing the show from internet radio and terrestrial radio. So So what they do to save themselves is they just call any goddamn thing a podcast. And it's the same for R&B and rap. There was a moment where rap was killing R&B. So R&B artists had to put rappers on their songs. See what I'm saying? There was a time when women were killing the game in R&B, so men had to start to sound and look like women. They developed what was called a falsetto, so they could sound like a female. When I heard Babyface Brother in After 7, I did not know that that was a male singing that song until later on. You see what I'm saying? Ready or Not, I didn't know. So that's just examples and points that I'm trying to make. So anyway, let me see if I can find some more of this craziness, crazy audio. Let me see. Okay, now this one is very, 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 very important because this is the audio that's going to get her investigated. This is a confession right here, even if it's not true. But because you want to be so involved and so connected to something that has nothing to do with you, and everything you tried to do, you did the opposite. And everything that you accuse everyone else of, you actually did. And this right here is a full confession. If you want to send something to the feds, forget all of that. All that other stuff is he say, she say. All that other stuff is second and third party information. It's gossip, it's propaganda. But this right here this was said on a public platform. This was said in public. This is time stamped. Even if you put this on unlisted or private, we got it. This is first generation information. This is a fresh broadcast from today. This came out of your mouth, and you don't know the significance of what you just said. You lucky for you, these people may not press the issue. They just want to live their life without any issues. But you messed up when you said this.
Everything that I said I was going to, I did. I have done more in 1 year than all of y'all have done in 4. That's what the problem is. This man went to jail 3 times, and you still ain't gonna know how I pulled it.
I give you full credit. My hat is off to you. You are telling, this is the first time in all these live videos and all this stuff she's been talking about, this is the first time that she actually told the truth. I don't even need to see proof. I believe her when she said that. And she worked alone. So if there's the Department of Tobacco and Firearms, if the CIA is listening, if the FBI is listening, any of the Alphabet Boys is listening, this is a confession. None of us had anything to do with that. She gets full credit. Nobody in the sector. She's right. She was the only one, the captain in Tennille, the Alpha and Omega. That was her. Now, listen to this one last clip.
Well, remember, you called him and said the people online think that you're not real. You remember that? Well, you were on the phone with him. I don't know who called who, but I'm just saying, when you said that on the phone with him, that's when he came in my chat. Well, yeah, but look, I didn't want you to think that, I was plotting on, this daddy came on my show and, said what he said. I didn't, I didn't, I didn't coerce him or nothing like that. He decided to come on the show all on his own.
It doesn't make for either way. So I don't even know what.
Well, the purpose was like you told him. The reason why he ended up over there was because you told him about me. So if it really wasn't for you, he would have never came on my show.
He came over there because about my child.
Well, yeah, he felt that it wasn't about his child. Talk to him about that. What he saw, he said was not a diss. So I wanted your opinion on that. What? Do what?
At the end of the day, have you ever seen Michael? No, you haven't.
Once again, my wife don't watch your show. No, baby daddy watch my show. There's a difference. What do you mean? When he do what?
Well. You see what I'm saying? The truth always come out in the end.
Love remix.
You know what I'm saying? There's always a light at the end of the tunnel. If there's an opening, if there's an exit, there is always light at the end of the tunnel. You know what I'm saying?
You have one moment to experience love. So while you're on this earth,
Yeah, hold on. I'm juggling and chewing gum at the same time.
take a chance, take that risk. Because
Be right with you.
achieve vision, you never want to let it go. And you, just like everybody else, be a soldier for.
I've lost the use of my heart. My mind is still alive.
It sounds like it's buffering to me a little bit. It sounds like it's buffering a little bit, and I don't like any glitches in my show if I can help it. So I gotta let me find an alternative to that. But I wanted to share that with y'all. I mean, that confession about, she says she the only one responsible for putting him in jail. And you know what? I'll let her have that credit, even if she's not telling the truth. I want to believe that. And then Vic tried to clarify that guy came on, her baby daddy came on the show on his own. And he said it. He said, he already knew that she was going to try to spin it. So he said it. Look, for the record, I want everyone to know and everybody listening, I came over here on my own. So if anybody calling him a liar, none of us is calling him a liar. And he gave us information on how to reach him on Facebook and IG. And he turned out to be a cool dude. Respectful, courteous. She the one that expected him. You know how sometimes a chick will lie on someone and sick somebody on that dude, and all she got to do, if she wants somebody ass whoop, she just, just make up some shit, say he touched, like at the club, he touched my ass, and somebody gonna die that night. even if it ain't true. You know what I'm saying? And this happened to one of my friends before. He only been out for a little bit of time and went to the club, and he had a little young chick with him, and some dude was trying to pop at her, but he caught a bad one. You know, and it's sad. You know. So yeah, I don't know why some of these videos ain't playing. Like, you know, they glitching, but it is what it is. Luckily, I peep it early and find a alternative to the approach. So I'm gonna see if this runs on my music player. Yeah, I'm just going through some files. There we go. Boom, boom. All right. Sticking to the script. I was cleaning out some old storage bins, and I came across some old pictures from, you know, when I first had a little studio in the apartment, my little bachelor pad. And shoot, back then I thought I was Teddy Riley. You know, don't think I'm not. I was a big fan. I thought I was Guy for a minute. You know, there were times where I thought I was special ed, and I went through a lot of different phases, boy. Yeah, I went through a lot of phases. There used to be lip singing contests at the Negro Club, and I didn't hesitate to grab a couple of dudes and say, "Yo, yeah, let's do the Guy thing." All right, other people trying to do BVD or whatever, and Jodeci, but I was trying to be Aaron Hall, and I did learn a lot from Teddy Riley's production style and what he did for Michael Jackson and stuff. But you know, Teddy Riley could produce anybody. You didn't have to be a singer, a good singer. You just had to show up at the studio, because you got to remember, Teddy Riley produced Boy George. You know, Teddy Riley made Boy George Boy George sound cool. So yeah, man, I've been taking risks with this computer, and you know, looking for new software and stuff like that, and you have to be careful because you can catch a bad one when you're looking for new software. But the payoff is great. When it works, it works. When you get something good, you get something cool. And yeah, I don't know what's going on in these YouTube streets. Yeah, I only see Tracy with the T live right now. I don't know who else is live. But I am right now. I'm officially quarantined, so it's official. Like I'm really quarantined now. So now I'm like super paranoid, and and I just got this new software, Cubase Element 10.5, and I got it from the website. I registered. They gave me a 30-day trial. It was 15 gigabyte download. So and it's very reasonably priced. So if I like it, I might, you know, invest in it. But it's bad timing right now. But it's on the list because the other version I have is Cubase 7IA and Steinberg the Window 2 and Cubase 5. You know, I'm sitting on a bunch of different softwares for different reasons. But I think I'm gonna use Cubase 10.5 for mixing and mastering, final mixes and mastering. I'm not gonna use it for production. I'd rather use Ableton Live 10 and Cubase 7 AI and Reason Essential 8 and Reason 10 intro and Machine MK2, you know, stuff like that. Get that big sound. So now I'm playing the audio from my media player instead of trying to play the video. So hopefully it won't sound all glitchy. Yeah. Yeah, we Gucci now. So you have the confession. You heard it here first. Some people are gonna let that brush over their shoulder. I wouldn't let that brush over my shoulder. Somebody took full credit for false incarceration, for inciting a riot, and organizing a witch hunt, which is probably not illegal, but in Salem it's probably illegal. But inciting a riot, making false accusations, slander, and telling people that your kids is gonna die unless you talk to me. I don't know anywhere on earth where that is copacetic or that could be ignored. And then you go back to those same people and say, "Hey, I connected with sex trafficking department of my city, and if you talk to me now, I can, help you get your kids back." Well, what about in Nicaragua when he got arrested and you said your kids is gonna die if you don't talk to me? Oh, if you're not talking to me now, you're working with him. So y'all working with him. How can you switch up on people? You only get one chance to mess up. When you was making fun of Eliana and those other girls with Beautiful Chick, they didn't forget that. You think people forgot that? Yeah, I showed that in my other live. You got a short memory. You have no clue of what you're doing. You have no private investigation skills, and you really playing with fire. Oh, right on, bro. I'm gonna shut up and let it rock for a second. You know, I'd rather do shows showing how these things are produced. Like I saw a girl on IG with Native Instruments. It was a Native Instrument representative, and this girl does the New Jersey dance. She's on the New Jersey dance music scene. It's a black girl. She's known for her vocals, for this the kind of dance music they do out there. And that music is like 135, 140 BPMs too. This that club music. And I was just surprised how fast she could edit her own vocals. I was really impressed. And she was using an old version of Ableton Live. And I said, damn, how do white boys know that? See, the white boys, this is what I'm saying. When you are live doing your show, and whatever music you playing, whatever you demonstrating on the screen, somebody can run with that if they know what you know. If they have the same skill set or better, they can say, "Oh, he's doing that. I never thought of that." And I was not thinking about. I was amazed at her editing skills and how good the music was playing. But the people in the audience knew that she was just using loops, and she wasn't using MIDI, and they knew she was using an older version of Ableton Live. And I was like, "Oh shit." You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, I would love to just do shows where I'm in the studio and you see my screen and what the music software is doing, the plugins I'm using. I'm not going to show the actual, keyboard playing, but you'll see the sound files and the instruments and how I put the final, tweaks to the track, because it is a long, boring process. But once you get past that point, and you just put the icing on the cake, that part is pretty cool. Yeah, because see, that a lot of home producers, they just do enough to do the genre of music that they like to do. If you produce hip hop, you only need enough to know how to make a track. You don't need to know all that other fancy stuff. And for vocals and stuff, they'll just even she did it. They'll just turn the high end down on the equalizer instead of using a noise gate, or even just going in and manually muting the noise out, even if you don't see it. But you got to see what the geeks do. You got to see what the engineers do. Once you finish, let's say you an artist and you making a song. First you have the hat of a writer. Then you wear the hat of a vocalist. Then you wear the hat of a producer. Then you or even the hat of a sound designer. And then you put on the hat of the producer. And then you put on the hat of the engineer. And then you put on the hat of the person that's mixing and mastering. Now that's the hardest hat to wear, because you done heard your music a billion times, so you cannot be objective. You need a second pair of ears, or you need to go for a walk and give your ears a rest and come back either the next day or so, and then try to mix your own song with fresh air. It takes a lot of discipline to be able to mix your song the same day that you made it. And then people cheat. The lazy producer would just throw a exciter in the master channel. And on everything that they want to sound good, they'll just use a multi-band compressor on everything. You throw a multi-band compressor on every single channel for vocals and everything, and throw an exciter in the master channel, and yeah, your shit will be loud, but it won't have any dynamics. But it'll be hella loud. And sometimes people think your shit is nice or well produced because it's loud, but it's just loud. It doesn't mean that it's well produced. Yeah, people don't. Sometimes you may have a fresh idea and you don't know it. I learned my lesson. I swear. When this dude was my manager for a couple of years. He stayed in Panama City, and this dude, what he does is he hear a song on the radio, a popular song on the radio, he will write the music for it, and then he will go overseas, and somebody in another foreign country that likes Black American music, but they want to sing in their language over the music. So he would go in the studio with them and replay the song for them overseas. So in the Middle East or Senegal or in France, there are songs that sound similar to Babyface and all this stuff, but it was him doing that. And he told me, when he heard my first album, he said, man, take it overseas, man. Sound quality matters. Unless your music is so unique. So people are like, well, maybe he meant to do that. But really, the best ideas are conveyed with a great sound quality. It's very rare that a good idea comes across well when the recording is poor. Wu-Tang first album, they got away with it. And even though it had the worst mix out of their whole collection, it still was a top seller. So there are some exceptions to the rule. Wu-Tang's second album was mixed. It was like top notch, big budget mix, Killer Bees and all that. But that first album had the ideas. It had the soul of the streets, the energy. So much of their own energy put into it. Ultramagnetic MCs, that first album sounded like they made it in the living room, but it was incredible. The ideas were there. The second album was recorded better, but it wasn't that first album. Tribe Called Quest, first album, Left My Wallet El Segundo, and Benita Applebaum and all that. But that Low End Theory was better recorded, and everybody thought it was their first album. De La Soul, that second album was crazy, but they was using so many samples, they didn't receive a dime from that second album. But that first album was the shit. But like I said, those moments are rare. Usually, you try your hardest to have a good sound quality, but when you're dealing with majors and stuff, you got all these snooty engineers that go, you can't do that. Oh no, that's going to hurt the ear. That's going to bust the speaker. No, we can't. That's not. This has to be this frequency, that frequency, and then the next thing you know, your music sounds like MC Hammer once he got signed to Warner Brothers. Absolutely, genius will get you by. So that means put you in a room with anything, and you'll figure it out. You'll figure out a way to make it work. It'll make it sound good. I was lucky to not have the best tools at first, and I made the best of what I had. So when I finally got something decent, I was able to really, come up with something. But it also made me it made my production not sound so urgent, but the struggle is what really made the ideas come through. And once the struggle is reduced, you have to still try to maintain that same level of ideas. So I went from making 4 songs a day when I barely had anything to making only 4 songs a month once I got to a comfortable level. So there's a documentary called The Art of Organized Noise, I think, on Netflix. I don't know if it's still there, but the former producers of Outkast, and they produced En Vogue and they produced TLC. They made all their hits before their big record deal. They made all their hits before that. Once they got that $20 million record deal, they never made another hit. They end up giving the money back too. and they got really hard. They really got Hollywood. Now, when they made those hits, we're talking about 14 people in the room, in the basement, sleeping on the floor. It smelled like incense and musk. And they had a dude that was a great piano player, a great bass player, and a great dude learned how to make beats on the drum machine. He wasn't even a veteran drum machine beat maker. He taught himself. But on the flip side, Outkast's biggest hit was not produced by Organized Noise. Outkast themselves produced it, and they did not let Organized Noise do the vocals, because usually Organized Noise do the background vocals on every Outkast album. So Speakerboxxx and The Love Below was not produced by Organized Noise. But I like to look for the message in between the message. And in that documentary, they slipped up and said, you know, we worked with a lot of artists in our community, and we had a lot of songs we were trying to get released, but the label said, we're not interested. And, you know, they was only interested in the other stuff that they had them do. So, see, if they had just a little bit more money, or had somebody else, one of their peer members, other than, you know, the local pimp or whatever, to invest in them, they could have been a real factor with this music. They could have changed the game up and forced them to let them make that kind of music, but they didn't. So they really had some deep, soulful, church-like, deep, dark music, you know. But that music might have enhanced a lot of people's lives and really enlightened a lot of people. And no, they didn't want to let that out. So they only spent $1.5 million of that $20 million budget, and they gave the rest of the money back. And yeah, they were jet setting. They had an office in California. They never was in the studio at the same time. And they used to jamming together with like 14 people. The other people was just there for to make you, you know, to reassure you that you sound right, you know. And but when they got big time, they only let 2 of them come in the studio at a time, and people had to make appointments for the studio, and they just didn't understand the creative process of, you know, of black folks. It's all in the documentary, The Art of Organized Noise.
This
what I
is
thought was
worship.
interesting was
With my Soldier
in the
Love
intro
remix.
of the
I just want to say,
in the intro of the
you only get one
documentary,
journey.
they showed
Chance. You only have
some
one
native
move
instrument stuff like
to
the
experience.
MK2. They were showing software and stuff,
While you're on this
and they was using hardware in those days. They was recording to 2-inch tape. And at best, they probably was using Pro Tools and finally Logic. But all their biggest hits were analog hits, even though they were using analog electronic machines. And they were playing, you know, live guitar and stuff. But at the beginning of this documentary, they showed them messing around with native instrument machine and stuff. And I said, well, we know who sponsored this documentary. We know who. All you got to do is look for the signs. We know who paid for this documentary. But now that we have home studios that can put out really good stuff and great sound quality, now the ball is in our course. All the major artists have been cut off at the knees, and they're in our backyard. I don't care who it is, Erykah Badu, you name it. They are in our backyard, and they have to deal with the same things we have to deal with. No matter how major you are, you still have to broadcast through the internet, and you can't perform in a theater. So now we as independent artists have the same access to the public as they do. But fortunately for us, this is where we've been the whole time, while they was on the big networks like BET, VH1, TV1, MTV, you name it, commercial radio. So they can use their celebrityism to get large numbers to view their show when they're live on Instagram. But if you don't know what the hell you're doing, you're gonna risk ruining your brand, and you gotta compete against somebody who's already been there that know their stuff. So today is a new day, and I'm excited about what the future holds. And yeah, this quarantine thing is bad. People are dying, but there's always a yin and yang. There's always an input and an output. Nobody knows what's on the other side of a black hole, but you do see what happens at the event horizon. And when it comes to art and music, right now we are reaching a event horizon where the independent artist and the major artist meets eye to eye. But unless you're Dr. Dre or DJ Quick or Daz or somebody, you don't know how to do nothing but come up with a cool idea, but you don't have the skill set to pull it all the way through without your big brother, without the major labels, without the parent label, without the budget. You cannot do what the average independent artist can do. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. So I'm gonna let this rock, and then I'm gonna sign out. And I appreciate everyone showing up, because I want to play with this new software I got. And I'm gonna convert that song, that remix, that Too Short remix. I'm gonna convert it to an MP3, and then I'll shoot it to you, grown folks. I'll shoot that to you. All right.